price has taken, a nosedive because people, there's no law to check the background of people and to track people, how they like a Sakawa person. He sits down, he commands magic, he does certain things, and then all of a sudden, his account is full of money. We should be able to track, how did you get this? In other jurisdictions, it's not like that. You cannot become rich overnight. Okay. Even if you are rich overnight, you hide your wealth. But here, even when they don't even have, they want to let people know they have. Because there's no law to track them and to punish people for some of those things. So I am saying, with all the things that you said, whether civil servant, public officials, or whatever, the most important person is a politician. The politician should, for instance, if you come here, and then you see people doing corruption, it defines you. It defines the head. Why is it that if you go to the some of the private sector, you will see the things that are done in the public sector? Because there is a head, there's a hierarchy, and then the people fear the top. You see, but if you don't fear the top, Master, you can do anything. The period of Rawlings, when Rawlings was Rawlings and was doing all manner of things, that even include extrajudicial arrests and all those things. The fear was that to the extent that people fear to do the wrong thing. But here, even the private prosecutor that we brought, look at what is happening. Some people are all over the place, putting spokes on the private prosecutor. The private prosecutor is there, but has not been able to do
fully function.
The things that we really wanted him to, to do. And for me, I think that it's a problem for all of us. It is good that the conversation have started. It started long ago, but I think that from time to time we should bring this conversation, and more so these legislations that are in place, so that once the legislation is there, nobody can run away, and at least our exchequer can rest. People who want to dissipate it by the act of corruption and all that. And now that the definition of corruption has extended
properly defined.
Properly defined and extended to all manner of things that you can even deception of a political a public officer. Intimidation, doing all manner of things. In order for you to gain advantage.
Saka, thank you very much.
I've been brought
thank
to
you.
the
I've spent a lot of time with you.
I think that it is
I've spent a lot of time with you. Now, I'm coming to you, Honorable Timothy Atabuade Awonterim. According to GII, Ghana loses about $3 billion to corruption alone. And if you read the report, the executive director of Ghana Integrity Initiative decried that successive governments have attempted to minimize corruption through moral crusades to uphold high ethics. The confiscation of properties found to have been acquired through corruption or public reforms, but that there's still a long way ahead to fight the problem. While most of the countries of the continent are awash with corruption, tiny Ghana is, according to Transparency International Corruption Index, among the least corrupt countries of the continent. The recent corruption scandal serves as an example for acts that leave citizenry in poverty, joblessness, in their broken homes, and with their shattered dreams, said the statement. It goes on and on and on and on. But the cracks of this particular assertion, intimated by the executive director of Ghana Integrity Initiative, is to the effect that, yes, we have been touting that we want to fight corruption head on. We want to address the menacing canker of corruption. However, we have failed woefully in our attempt, and we're still losing about $3 billion annually to corruption. Now, given all the things that we've spoken about, morality, culture, and things like that, and I think that I've had an extensive conversation with Saka relate in respect of that matter. But from your perspective, how have we failed in addressing the issue of corruption, and why have we failed?
Yes, interesting. I've listened to my brother Saka, and Saka talked about the fact that he disagreed with Obama, talking about strong institutions. He feels that we should have the strong men, which is good. But Obama's statement of strong institutions cannot be decoupled from the strong men. It's encapsulated. You cannot. It's not about brick and mortar. It's not about putting steel in a mortar and make it strong. It's about how the human being who occupies that office makes it work.
So strong men build strong institutions. That's what you're saying.
Yes. In the issue of the Western world, corruption do exist. But the institutions to fight corruption, both vertical and horizontal, are active and working.
Right.
So what it means is that you can be corrupted today, you can steal today, tomorrow those institutions will catch you. Safini. And that's how to fight corruption. Sometimes you deliberately allow corruption to fester so that you get the root causes and nip it. It's just like cancer. When there's cancer, what you do is that, and the cancer is cancerous, you apply heavy doses of chemotherapy to be able to uproot the cancerous cells. And that is what you do to corruption. But where corruption issues are reported, and then the issues are romanced with, then there can even be party faithful who will come and threaten that if you send these people to court, you see what will happen. The fellow contributed so and so amount during our campaign. I'm waiting to see they will knock the table, and the institutions for fighting corruption becomes dim. Must we go into literature as to who wrote what, as what the GII said, as to what the issues are? Is it for nothing? Is it for nothing that this government established the Special Prosecutor's Office and the euphoria that came with the celebration, the pomp and pageantry, the fanfare, the pomp and pageant. Oh, President Danso Akufo is incorruptible. He has come to fight corruption and so on. And I've often asked, what has his incorruptibility got to do with the fight against corruption? It has never happened. Look, let me cite some few examples. You see, the president appoints staffers when he took over the governance.
Absolutely.
When did you do your primaries? I think this year was last year.
Oh, last year.
Last year.
Listen to me carefully. Within the space of 2 years, those who could not pay filing fees, go and file against sitting members of parliament, not only pay the filing fees, exhibit negotiating campaign, liaise with a lot of resources. Where did they get it? And the president knows that team salary is not more than 20,000. And when I deduct everything, team salary will come to, let's take it, 12,000. And team is able to execute primaries, remove a sitting member of parliament that runs into millions. And he's not a contractor. He has never worked. He's not. Some of them have never worked. They've never held a chalk to teach. Wouldn't the president investigate team? Where did I get my source of funding? This morning when I was coming, I heard a news item said that Dr. Boako, the special aide to Gideon Boako, has donated a pickup, a motorbikes. He was a lecturer in tech, has donated a pickup, a motorbikes to his constituency.
But why? I mean, come on.
No.
It was a lecturer. No. Lecturers are paid very well. What are you talking about?
Please. You see, the fight, the corruption conundrum in this country, we have to untangle it. If not, we'll continue to do laws. Like you rightly said, is it about the law? The current law says that the minimum sentence is 12 years. Minimum, that's where you start from before you graduate to 25 years.
Yep.
You again talked about something very important. You talked about something I was just writing. I think you took it up from me. Fine. Flag bearers accuse their opponents during campaign about corruption. And when they come into power, they become deaf and dumb about corruption. What causes that? What causes the fact that I accuse you during my campaign because you sit where you are sitting? When I get a chance to sit on the chair you are sitting, then I become deaf and dumb. Even corruption issues are being investigated. The president clears them. You remember the cash for seat issue, which Uncle Kosiprat even asked that, how could we have determined whether the people were corrupt or not? When statements were issued to clear the people, including the bust moving Pina issue. You understand? These are issues that we must look at. And if we don't look at, you remember John Dramani Mahama talked about the paradox of fighting corruption. The paradox of fighting corruption is often seen like
exposure.
Yes, exposure. You are in the same government. You want to expose your people the time you are corrupt. You leave them, you are corrupt. You understand? So it becomes very difficult, like my brother, like Saka and Co, to talk. For us, it was corruption that yanked us from the office. And then your president and my president today, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, what brought him into office, presumably, is the issue of his incorruptibility. Has it stood the test of time? Now look, if we talk about strongmen who should handle this, what happened to the Auditor General Adomlevo? In fact, he's the first fellow who began to implement the provisions of the Auditors Act that says that if a public officer is found culpable of spending public money, what you do is that you surcharge him. If he doesn't pay this number of months, then the fellow is sent to court. Now here is a case that he has been removed from office because he was seen to be fighting a senior minister of state. Now the issue of corruption has also become difficult for governments of the day when the government of the day has been loaded with friends and family. How do you expect that if the president's daughter today, Jankuma, is found corruptible within the institution for which she finds herself, how are you going to prosecute the president's daughter? How are you going to prosecute the president, his nieces, his family, and so on? It becomes difficult for the fighters of corruption. It is even more dangerous when people like the writers of the corruption article you talked about cannot openly talk about corruption and nail it and call it where it belongs to, rather than putting up a cake literature for us on corruption. In fact, they've written literature for us on corruption and we are tired. Look, institutions that are supposed to fight corruption, my brother, look at where we are today. Matna Mido has been appointed to fight corruption. When he was spokes like my brother were putting his way to fight corruption, and he talked, one wanted to talk, and they said, oh, they've given Matna Mido 180 million Ghana cedis. Is that not it? Is that alone? Look at Electoral Commission. As a member of parliament is in court fighting to get information on the procurement processes. At least the institution should be finding that will be having doubtful faces of corruption should be what? Should be Electoral Commission. What happened today? What happened? Look at our judiciary. Apart from the fact that cases of corruption has been adduced against the judiciary, even the processes of prosecuting and then passing sentences of issues of corruption is so daunting. It's so long, such a way that at the end of the day, people even lose track of the issue. Issues of corruption should be fought with the alacrity it deserves. Is that how we are seeing? We don't see that. And for me, I think that, you see, the fight against corruption is not about the new law that has been promulgated. Kwame, like you rightly said, even the earlier law that was a case of misdemeanor, even apply the small laws on corruption. Have we done that? We haven't done that. What we do is to award corruption. We award corruption in this country.
Can we say that there's been some level of commitment demonstrated by this administration?
Not at all.
In addressing the issue of hold on. I mean, you've listed a number of alleged corrupt practices that have been cleared, right?
Yeah.
But in that same vein, the RTI bill has been passed, which allows for people to go for information and any document whatsoever. In fact, the board, I think, was inaugurated, I think, 2 days back by the president. Special prosecutor, is in operation. So can we therefore not, say that in terms of deliberately addressing the issues of corruption, at least there's been some strides made?
My brother.
Yes, sir.
What is RTI? RTI and the information Ghanaians will be looking for is no more than Auditor General's report in this country. The Auditor General report amply captures major issues of corruption, even in detail. So even with what is before us, have we been able to work with it? Today, taxpayers' money of $10 million have been used to audit cocoa roads. $10 million, colossal amount. Do you know the number of boreholes you can get from $10 million? That would have relieved people, would have served as respite to people who are drinking contaminated water and getting guinea worm in this country. You pay $10 million into a private man's account. Do you know what $10 million would have done to the Bulsa district? Do you know what $10 million would have fixed the roads in your place? Into one fellow's account for auditing of roads. And today, even the report, we are told that the report is so voluminous and we can't print it out.
But you're talking as if you are Angel Michael, when it comes to the issues of corruption, are you?
I am not, because
your party. It's
Go
also
ahead.
engaged in. You know,
Exactly.
there's been a number of. Hold
Exactly.
on. We've listed.
Yes.
Reasons.
Yes.
Why we've not been able to address the issue of corruption.
Yes.
Or win the war against corruption.
Yes.
And which issues include the fact that we are engaged in monetized politics.
Yeah.
Which breeds what we describe as clientelism.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
We have also and in fact all political parties are in that web, right? Winner takes all policies, vote buying, electoral fraud and violence, political vigilantism, judicial corruption, selective justice, and lack of punishment of politically connected corrupt persons. No government, including the NDC, can be eschewed completely from this particular narrative that is being espoused by this. Because we have, well, you can cite Abu Gapele and a few others, right? But generally, your party cannot be freed from the nuances of corruption and the fact that you have not been able to fully address the issue of corruption, because that was the, if you will, the one thing that was heavily trumpeted by the MPP, and at the time you were not able to counter that.
Kwame, NDC is a microcosm. It's a subset of the Ghanaian population. NDC to the same. So we are generally corrupt people. It doesn't matter which political party you belong to. I am not free of corruption. That is why we must make sure that corruption is not even done. It's not even, the stealing is not even done at all. The first thing is, why should the stealing be done? Why can't we close the loopholes? NDC is as corrupt as MPP, just like the other. In fact, those who are not corrupt in terms of public funds are those who have not had access to becoming politicians or to have political power and state resources available.
But that's the danger. You are limiting the scope. That's the danger.
I've not limited.
I'm listening to you. No, I'm listening to you. But you're limiting the scope of the politicians.
I am saying that those whom you can say they are not corrupt today are those who have not had access to power and public resources. All those talking about corruption in Ghana here, give them political positions, and you'll be shocked. It's like when Bob Marley said that if your knife should turn today, a lot of people will run away. If God opens the darkness and you see that grandfathers are begging their grandchildren
for things
to commit crime, that is where you see how the human being is. So what you can do is to ensure that it does not happen. You see, that's why I told you that the Western world, not that corruption does not exist. If you are the UN, it exists. But how come that they've been able to tackle it? They've been able to tackle it because the institutions for fighting corruption, both horizontal and vertical, are up and doing. Let me cite an example. You know China. China, corruption is there. But it has made a no area. Look at, I think one guy, is it Bolai or so? He committed corruption. You know what they did to him? They jailed him, they seized his, all the properties, and he was banned from holding public office. So any of these three things, even if one is removed, the other one is unpalatable. If the third one is removed, the other one is unpalatable. If they leave you naked on the street, it's unpalatable. But what do we do, like my brother Isaka do? How do you and I see some of us who walk? You tell us that, look at that foolish man, he has been a member of parliament, minister. He's now walking. He hasn't even got a car, he couldn't buy.
Who's that guy?
No, I'm just looking at
General, okay.
They will say that, look at him, he had to parliament, he's not even walking. Have you seen him? He hasn't even got a car.
So the moral, the
cultural aspect is there, for which we are all part of.
Absolutely.
And we must make sure that we do not blame people when they find themselves.
People say that Hadia has been following CPP for all these years.
What did she get? You understand? You understand? So I am telling you something. I don't need to cite issues, and for me, I think that our current president has an opportunity to demonstrate his incorruptibility. He should have an opportunity to demonstrate, because he said he has been in this fight for 42 years, and that has been a big crown.
I like the obligations that you are imposing on the president. That's fantastic, and I'm coming to Hadia after that. But let me bring something to your attention. Perhaps that will inform your decision whether or not that commitment still exists. Because if you read this particular paper that I'm reading, it was written by Dr. Kofi Ansah-Pepra, right? And if you read the theoretical framework, democracy and corruption in Ghana, because he says that the reason why we've not been able to win the war against corruption is because of our flawed democracy, and he's explaining why. Then he says that Transparency International and Ghana's Anti-Corruption Action Plan 2012 to 2021 define corruption as the misuse of entrusted power for private gain to include both the public and private sectors. He continues to say that these include bribery, embezzlement, and misappropriation, abuse of power, and I'm coming to you to find out whether the president can address this issue of corruption. Abuse of power, patronage, nepotism, and conflict of interest. So he cites these reasons as the basis for which reason what we describe as democracy, which in fact in his estimation is flawed democracy, is what is leading people to be involved in corrupt practices because they know that they're not going to be jailed, etc. So you made mention that you are reposing, if you will, a lot of confidence in Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo because of the fact that he touted that he's been involved in the whole process for 42 years, right? Given what I have spelt out, as per the definition by Transparency International and the Ghana's National Anti-Corruption Action Plan 2012 to 2021, do you think that President Akufo-Addo is well placed, would have the political will, the social will, the legal will, the moral will to address the issue of corruption, particularly when nepotism finds expression in the generality of the definition given by this particular
Kwame, he can't do it. And I cite an example that you cannot inundate your government with your friends and blood family and fight corruption. It's out. Even when you don't have, what do you call it, close relatives in government, it becomes difficult. Why? Even the party whip in this part of the world, the party whip will come against you because you are not an independent presidential candidate. You won on a political party ticket. And that party will not allow you to fight corruption that will make them lose the next election. So they will come after you and put pressure on you and make you unpopular.
Thank you.
So you would need,
you would
need a president who would say that, and a hung parliament. You know what a hung parliament is?
Tell me about it.
You would need a parliament that has the majority in opposition.
Okay.
Then the ruling government will have the minority. So that at least we can get the exposure of the corruption. So that at least if we are not fought, this can be documented properly. But where we have issues, or look at the Ajapa deal. Within 2 hours in parliament, it was giving the.
Don't you think perhaps we should begin to have conversations about the winner takes all thing, so that maybe if
we
people know that whether they win or lose, they
we can have it, but
we'll minimize corruption and things like that.
That winner takes, what I don't even want to talk about is that those who are advocating or promulgating for it, when you put them into position, they become compromised.
Okay, thank you.
That is not the issue.
Thank you very much. Let me come to Hadia Hamdatu on this subject. But Hadia, you've listened extensively to Saka, extensively to Honorable Tim. Please, what do you have to say?
When they were talking, I was glancing through the paper. We have a situation where
breakfast good day, every day.
Nestle. Good food, good life.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
apologies for that. I don't know what happened. But Aja, I wanted to, please.
Yes, I said the Auditor's General report, people go to Parliament to face the Public Account Committee. And then you can see that most people are found culpable. At the end of the day, we don't know where those matters end. And it breeds corruption. But what I don't like is if we start to color corruption, then we have failed from day one. Because if you're going to say that either NDC or MPP or maybe this political party, and then we don't look at the corrupt people and stand them alone and deal with them, we have a very long way to go. If you look at I was saying that because we don't implement our laws, we don't enforce laws, that is why, if you look at the Daily Searchlight, it said OMCs owes government to 25.5 billion, and then the government is scouting for 22 billion loan. So you can see that if we are able to collect this our monies, we don't need this loan. So I think you see KOD, until and unless, and I'll emphasize on that again, if we don't decouple politics from corruption and then face it and say Hajia has been found culpable of this, it doesn't matter whether she was acting chairperson of the convention, the law must take its course. We cannot fight corruption in this country. Now, the Auditor's General report, if you take from even, let's say from 2000, Kwame, from 2000, now from 2000, we've been getting reports at the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament. Have we been able to be told whether those who were found culpable, they've returned the money, and what happened to them, and so on and so forth? We are still waiting and hoping that maybe that will happen. So I think strong institutions, yes, but we need strong people to make sure the institutions work. Because you can have a strong institution. Maybe if the fundamentals are wrong, by all means,
the institutions will expose you.
Yeah, this thing will expose you. So I think, as for corruption, it's everywhere. It's not just politicians. But if you're going to say there's only the politician, then you leave the public sector out. Meanwhile,
CEOs and all
you
of
see,
those guys.
we even have to look at even the private sector.
Absolutely.
Saka spoke about glorification of even stealing. You have a situation whereby people will flout their homes on television, on social media. A Trasako, about 23-year-old girl or man, you don't even find out how the person got the house.
Yeah.
Because we've made corruption so attractive in such a way that people can just say, so after all, if I do it, somebody can say, yes, I have 3 houses. I'm now building my 4th house. And then the person will bring it on social media. You see, the other day I was selling my kids in the hall. They are girls, 3 of them were sitting discussing. So I said, have you realized something? People take success to be cars and big mansions.
Yeah.
That's success. So. Meanwhile, at times I don't blame them, because even our religious leaders, supposed religious leaders, what they do on social media, and people, you have people, journalists like you, Kwame, glorifying them.
No, I don't glorify such stupidity.
No, listen, I said like you, journalist. You are a journalist.
I don't glorify stupidity.
You see, you are a journalist.
Yes, I am.
Okay, if I say like you, doesn't mean you in particular. Okay. And then maybe even honoring invitations to go and flout their wealth, and you wouldn't know. Because if you look at the wealth that is being exhibited on social media by Ghanaians, then we don't need loans. Taxes alone can take care of our problems.
Absolutely, Aja.
Taxes alone can take care of our problems.
How much do we make from the toll booths?
Because you will see somebody saying, I have this mansion here, I have this business here, I have this. And then, because politicians are so fallible, people can call you in the night and say, you see, if you do this and do that, you lose an election. A parliamentarian will be sitting in the night and a strange call will come. Oh, I dreamt about you. Some people chasing you with it, and then the person will fall.
Fallible.
And then they will go and pay monies to these people. So I think we have to look at our laws very well. As for the laws, they are there.
Okay.
But I think people's attitude, people's behavior, what they do on social media. If somebody said, I bought a $3 million apartment or building in Trasaco, the person should be able to pay some tax to the government. We don't just leave it like that to go. In the advanced world, where we go with our Asanka and TCC, if you're watching Pan-African TV, good morning. Go around borrowing, begging all these countries to help us. And then they are fighting corruption. Even the institutions are saying that they will chase you to pay taxes on whatever you have.
Right.
But in this country or in Africa, it's the other way around. Because if our institution were to work in well, the OMC will not be owing up to 25.5 billion, whilst our government is looking for 22 billion.
How
you understand?
is the oil marketing companies owing?
You understand?
Government.
So you see this kind of thing. So I think
we need to investigate this.
You have to investigate this matter, not just this matter. There are other things that we have to look at.
Yeah.
Our ports, our petroleum incomes, and what have you. Because we as a people, we as a country, we are rich. And why is it that we are rich, but still we keep on borrowing? That's why we are saying we cannot borrow again as the Convention People's Party. But what are we going to do? We rather complete all unfinished projects with internal generated funds, because we have to come to terms with what is happening. Because if we are accumulating debt upon debt, it's going to affect the economy of this country come the next 10 years.
Yeah, that's a very important point you're making.
So now,
really,
if we decide that, okay, any government who wins the 2020 elections, we're not going to embark on any new project, because even we have projects that are abandoned from Kwame Nkrumah's time. What are we going to do? Why can't we generate the internal generated, and then with massive education of the electorate? Because electorates, they are just there. If you come in the 1, this, 3, 1, 5, 1, they expect you to provide it. But I think it is hard time we sit round table as Ghanaians, forget about our political differences, and ask ourselves the path we are trying, is it right or wrong? And then we come to, oh fine, let's look at the next 8 years, what we can do without borrowing, or maybe excessive borrowing. We only borrow when it is very, very important, to look at certain sectors of the economy that we can sort of pump some monies to let them, because if we are always we miss our target, we don't get our target, be it agriculture, the economy, inflation, and for that matter, the growth of the economy, then we keep on borrowing just to satisfy certain things. I think we are rather going into a path that, if we are not careful, it will affect us in the near future. So I think corruption. Why is it that if somebody steals a good, the judge is quick to pass judgment, go to jail for 4 years? But we have people who have taken our monies. It will take them years, 10 years, 20 years. They will even decide on how to make payment. So I think in order for us to make corruption unattractive, anybody found culpable, one, we should look at his bank account, assets, even close relation, because somebody can decide that I'll steal this and put it in my cousin's or my friend's account. If it's in that account, what work does the person do to have that amount in? I think if we do that and trace certain things, that's why the West don't respect us. We still have this money and go and improve their economy. Because if you are saving in Switzerland,
they invest those monies.
They invest those monies. So if you have it, why don't you rather invest in your country and then open factories, open businesses for the teeming youth of this country to have jobs?
Thank you very much, Hajia Hamdatu. You're still watching the Newspaper Review segment on Pan-African Television. Let me remind you again that the WhatsApp number is active 0260846539. And share with us what your thoughts are on the issue relating to corruption on the morning show. But before we move to the next topic, I think it's imperative to share with you some snippets of the literature written by Dr. Kofi Nsia-Pepra, which is themed Flawed Democracy, the Bane of Ghana's Success in Curbing Corruption. Flawed Democracy, the Bane of Ghana's Success in Curbing Corruption. If you read one of the paragraphs, it says, according to the National Anti-Corruption Action Plan report, the causes of corruption in Ghana include institutional weakness, poor ethical standards, including limited commitment to the values of integrity and self-discipline, skewed incentives structure, and insufficient enforcement of laws within a patrimonial society and political context. The NACAP 2015-2024 recommends public capacity building, institutional efficiency, accountability and transparency, effective investigations and prosecution of corrupt conduct as necessary measures to fight corruption in Ghana. The lacunae are that the literature does not particularly examine the correlation between Ghana's flawed democracy and corruption, but the paper is filling the gap. Now, what is also very important is to appreciate the brief survey of corruption in Ghana, which he pointed out. And I think that it will serve as some education for all of us. Since independence, Ghana has been blighted with pandemic corruption, hindering its development. With democratization, I think Saka also tried to mention a few of them. In 1993, we had anti-corruption agencies, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice in 1993, the Serious Fraud Office in 1998, and the Economic and Organized Crime Office, which replaced it in 2010, were all established. The Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition of key public and non-governmental bodies was also established on the 13th of March 2001. However, corruption remains a menace despite the fact that democracies reduce corruption. Ghana persistently scores below 50% on a scale of 0, highly corrupt, to 100 very clean on the annual corruption perception index. Well, we're asking the question, why is it that corruption is still persistent? We don't know, but the article or the literature has pointed out a few of the causes of corruption in Ghana, and it has also given us some solutions that we can use in addressing the issues of corruption in Ghana. Let's move on and discuss a few of the issues. We have very limited time, so we'll perhaps, maybe let me create a little confusion before we discuss. We'll discuss the last issue, which has to do with the EC disqualifying 5 presidential aspirants. But I want to touch on this issue briefly. Mahama is punching the Akufo-Addo. They seem to resign over failure to fight Galamsey. Honorable Tim, let me start with you on this subject matter. And I'm sure perhaps former President Mahama is making this submission in respect of President Akufo-Addo's own statements that he made relative to if he fails to, he's putting his presidency on the line and things like that. But let me hear from you briefly. I don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, that is exactly what he made. And I listened to just snipers of his interview yesterday, and for me, it's another paradox of fighting Galamsey in this country, because I remember during our time when we tried several other ways to fight Galamsey, and it led to the pronouncement by President Mahama saying that is it that Chim area is a dungeon of Galamsey. You know, the barrage of attack that came, it compelled him to withdraw the statement and apologized. And I think it was based on that the current president said that, yeah, he did. Even you can Google and get it. And he went on to say that if people are saying that if I become the president, I'm going to ban the operations of Galamsey. No, he started coming to make it work better for the Galamseyers. So based on that, the Galamseyers were happy and voted for. But what did we see? After he became the president, there was an attempt to stop them, fraught with a lot of challenges. And these challenges culminated in the situation where equipment used for the Galamsey, including F movement excavators, were seized, and they flew out of this country. We cannot even get where they are. owners of this equipment, some of them died later. They were seen, they burned them. Most of these concessions that were even taken, you are laughing. that were taken. We saw the Charles BC thing with the exchange of the money and a host of them, and with issues. And we are saying that no, when we will not do that. We are going to establish what we call the gold board. The gold board would ensure that people whose equipments were seized will be returned to them, and the legally acquired lands that have also been seized would be properly reversed to them.
You mean the concessions?
To ensure the concessions and to ensure that equity is brought to bear there, because it's painful that people took loans and lost their working tools, and it led to death and so on. So President Mahama was on the note that if you say that you put your presidency on the line, and that if you fail the fight against Galamsey, then you are going to resign. Then resign, because you have failed and failed abysmally, looking at the fact that the waters that were turning to be drinkable have now turned to be milky waters, and even it's even now worse than it is when you look at the reports that are coming out, and even from utterances from people like Kennedy Japan, who said that there's so much rot there. Right. Then Mahama is right to have said that he should resign. But that was in reference to the Galamsey fight.
Absolutely. Thank you very, very much. I mean, for the first time, I've seen Saka sitting quietly and watching. Saka, it beats me. I mean, it beats me that Aja, up until now, Saka has not been given any formal appointment or anything.
Yesterday I was looking at one guy that he's the head of.
Hold on, this guy. That's what I got to know him in 2016, I believe.
Yeah. I knew him earlier.
No, I mean I got to know him. I went to GBC 24. I went to GBC 24 with Amma. And I got to know Saka from there. No, hold on. And I liked him. I said, who is this guy Charlie blasting the NBC? And I was so happy. I said, the guy is good. You know, and subsequent to that, every channel, sometimes some of the channels you don't even know.
I say Munti, I was with him.
This guy defies all the odds, defends the party, even on channels that the party considers unfriendly. This guy will go and yet somehow, how many days to elections? 50 days, right? Absolutely nothing has been. Well, you can't talk.
The pain is that sometimes
and you don't know where this is.
It's not
just happened to some of us before.
You see, it's not just Saka.
Kwame, let me tell you, the pain is that there
are people I don't want to
who are not even near him.
Absolutely.
Yesterday I was watching TV3. Wait. And I saw one guy that he's the head of information for Ghana's permanent mission in the UN.
When this guy was in
I just read the headline, my mind, not because my mind straight went to Saka. Ghana's, and you know he's been coming. There are those people who said they are in abroad. When the party won, they came with good beard. He's one of them. And our own friend Nana Damwa is the PRO for Petroleum Commission, and the same time speaking for energy, Ministry of Energy. Why can't you decouple the two and give my brother one? But he said, he wears smoke and still come with specs and be talking. What is the issue?
My pain is that
it's not because of him. Because
I'm not saying this because I feel like I'm not saying this because
if Saka has got something, he will not be taking black coffee. Look at the coffee he's taking this morning. It's even black. If you will be taking black.
That's an indictment.
It's not an indictment. Who told Pan Africa what to give him?
No, I mean, Saka, look, it's not because I never thought of it.
When I just saw that guy, my mind could
but Saka, Charlie,
it's not his issue anyway.
It's not your issue. You can't talk, but we'll talk. You see, there's a gentleman who used to come on my platform, and then we also started talking for him. After that guy put there, when they rewarded him, he has never come back again. I don't want to
Why you want me to help you to mention him?
No, it's okay. Don't mention. Leave him.
Mention his name.
But my problem is that the elections are just around the corner. You never know whether you win or lose. So if, God forbid, or whatever, if the NPP loses, what happens to you?
That is the
Life
issue.
goes on.
Life goes on, I appreciate that. But then the sacrifices, the sleepless nights, going
Those
on
are
platforms,
politics.
being humiliated and things like that would have gone, to waste.
And politics, it's
Oh,
like that
goodness.
too with NDC.
Saka, you let me.
Someone
let
like
you,
that, at least give
Am
me
I
a
not
good
sitting?
package. Cocoa
Am I
roads.
not sitting
We are here
beside
together.
you?
Some
We are here.
cocoa road so that he can
What have I
make
not
some
done
1
for
million
CBD?
and put it
That's the
somewhere.
whole point. No,
The way
no,
you
no,
give it.
That's how it is.
It appears sometimes hard work
You
doesn't
go
even
to the office. It appears hard whether
Yeah, because people, you do all the work, people will come and benefit.
Unless
And
you are
are
connected.
hungry. Saka, even your car service is not nice.
Oh,
Hey, look
my
at
brother.
Ricky Kai.
Hey, look at the car.
The other
guys.
time he picked me, no air conditioning.
Nothing.
Those were dirty. I said, what? This caricature car to
No,
where
because no, Hadia, you're a government communicator. You represent the party. So they must treat you well. The least they can do for this guy is at least you give him some car safe, some very nice car.
they can
Nice car, repackage this
some
man.
cocoa road for
So
me.
Cocoa Road at least. To
Did he
trust
tell
him.
you he hasn't got cocoa?
No, he doesn't have
That is
anything.
the
Why?
problem with political
Haven't you seen
parties.
him wear this Batakari like
It
for
is
4
not
years?
only NPP.
What are you
NDC
talking
too
about?
is called- is
Oh,
also the
let's
same
move
thing.
on.
Saka, you want to respond
Today
to this
they-
issue?
Maybe,
No,
maybe.
I won't respond.
Maybe we.
No. I mean the topic.
Maybe we the
Maybe this one.
After this one,
No. This one won't let you respond. this one. We have
You are not supposed to
So where's the
respond.
I am with the national person here.
You should step
That Mahama should Akufo-Addo should step down because he has failed the fight
no,
against.
Kwame, I think that is one of these political gimmicks just to he can
Political
also say
gymnastics,
something. He can also say something to spite the president. We all know. I mean, if you look at the fight against Galamsey, NDC attempted it. When my brother Timothy was talking, he actually mentioned the word attempt. That they also attempted. They attempted and failed in the fight against Galamsey. When NPP came, we all know what happened. I'm telling you that you see the fight against Galamsey. When you fight Galamsey, the Galamsey also fight you because this is a very lucrative venture. That the people is like those who engage in illicit drugs. They want to do any and everything to ensure that they succeed in their track. So in terms of Galamsey, when we came, it was a concerted effort between the presidency, between the media, because I remember the media led by CTFM and Kwame, all of you, and even the chiefs and people. The chiefs, there was a coalition. Everybody agreed that we are going to fight this menace because it was becoming unbecoming. It has assumed a proportion where our land was being dissipated. Our natural resources, including even the cocoa that we all yearn for, as part of our foreign exchange, was being, a cut down and then given to people on concession, and the land given on concession and all that. We see that water bodies, polluted to the extent that even animals cannot even drink the water body. So we had come to a stage where a decision needed to be taken. And the first thing that we did was to ensure that we put a moratorium on small scale mining and Galamsey itself. Galamsey, mind you, is not a legal term. Galamsey itself is an illegal act. So that one was already a ban act. It was an act that was banned. Because
it was illegal.
It's because it was illegal. But we put a moratorium on small scale mining because the small scale miners are legal miners. But because the small scale miners are the same people who becomes the Galamseyers, we decided that whether you have a legal a document, contract, or whatever to a concession or not, put a stop. We are going to suspend it. Then we are going to ensure that all the people who engage in Galamsey, we train and retrain them. So a lot of over 1,500 of them were sent to a Takwa School of Mines to train on the ways of ensuring that you do responsible mining. We did that.
Party here.
We say, you forget about Party Hensika.
Okay.
Well, I mean, these were some statement coming from somebody that we cannot sit here and verify it. But I'm saying that government took a lot of decisions. Government ensured that we formed the interministerial committee, and the interministerial committee worked. There can be one or two blemishes here and there, some black sheep or pariah within that committee. But that does not mean the committee failed in its work. The committee worked, and then there was the military one, what's the name?
Vanguard.
The Operation Vanguard.
Yeah.
Too. Vanguard was successful. Indeed, if you look at all the work that Vanguard did, they did so much work to the extent that even the excavators that we are talking about, a lot of them were seized by the Operation Vanguard. And indeed, if you look at even the seized excavators that we are talking about, it was only a misunderstanding that some people said that, oh, some excavators are escaping and all that. How can an excavator escape? They are only using escaping of excavators just because of the guinea fowls that escaped to Burkina Faso. So to equalize.
So where are the excavators?
I mean, have you heard anybody complaining of excavators?
Yes.
Because there was Mr. Nathaniel asked where the excavators were.
But
listen.
Owusu told us where they were.
No, in fact, it was an accounting issue. Where they were not able to account it well, and some people had also gone out to say 500 excavators when indeed it was not so. I'm saying that even if the fight against Galamsey has not been 100% successful, we have chalked some modicum of success because now, if you look at the water body, it is a little bit cleaner. It is a little bit cleaner. If you look at now the community mining that we brought. Now you do know that we even use drones to ensure that people who even do the mining, they do the reclamation, and people who engage in this community mining, the responsibility is for the one with the concession. The one with the concession to ensure that when they do, then the larger scale miner whose a concession is given to the community is the one to ensure that the land is reclaimed. So if we have a political opponent saying that Nana should resign because he has failed in his week, I think that it's unfortunate.
Thank you very much. Adia Amdatu wants to skip that and discuss, and I think it's very important, it's very crucial for her to discuss the EC disqualifying 5 presidential aspirants. Who have been disqualified? Akwalu is Akwalu part?
No, Akwalu is ODK.
Oh, ODK!
Oh yeah, ODK is gone.
Oh, Odi.
Jataba, an independent presidential candidate, and I have the list anyway.
But you see, this matter.
You see,
is it not constitutionally improper to disqualify people from contesting?
No, you see,
what does the constitution say? That if you are 40 years and you are above,
the issue is that there are some. Before I go to that, about the former president calling on the current president to step down because of we have 50-something days to elections. 49. So is there going to be a by-election? There's not, so the elections are just at the corner. So I think the good people of Ghana will decide. Now moving on to the disqualification of I want to applaud the Electoral Commission. I'll
give you the opportunity to.
I really applaud the EC headed by my very good friend, my sister Jim Mensah, for a young woman's job, because I think they gave all the aspirants the opportunity. Previously it was 2 days, now 5 days. So whatever corrections that you needed to do, you were given ample time to do it. But instead of these people concentrating on filling their forms, there were somewhere campaign that somebody's percentage is 0 point something percent in Ashanti region. That's Jataba, busy doing other politicking instead of concentrating on the forms that he wanted to contest. Because if you want to lead this nation, look, this woman that people don't take serious, Ekwadonko, when she was called, she made sure her people corrected the mistake. Look at Asanya Yarga today. Look at what he's saying about Electoral Commission. 100% better than them, because he was given ample time. Where he went wrong, he was able to correct. Now 5 days, and you're not able to. And then,
but the fact that Asanya is saying EC 100% does not mean that.
No, I'm not saying. I said look at somebody who had a problem with EC because he was disqualified.
Okay.
So now maybe he was given the opportunity to correct all the mistakes, because maybe 2 days, and then it has to do with people who sort of endorse one particular candidate and did for another candidate. We nearly fell into that this thing, if not because we're able to justify that those who endorsed our flag bearers form were our political party members. You see, people are trying to be mischievous. One, we have filled our form. So who got the data, or for that matter, the numbers of our members to fill for this independent candidate? You see, this matter is with the police. And now I urge the police to investigate, and then we know what to do.
Thank you.
You see, EC, people who were saying EC, Gymnasta, this gym, from yesterday, everybody is quiet. Everybody is quiet. You are talking about disqualification. If we even look at the thing critically, maybe we would have even disqualified about
a lot more people.
A lot more people. But maybe because they were given ample time to, we don't hear about political parties until maybe election year. Then everybody will come and fight. I think the EC should crack the whip by looking at the number of political parties that we have in our books. And see whether they are just there to be occupied. If there's IPAC, they will come and be making noise. Because there are some political parties whose name is still with the EC, but they are not doing anything. They only come to IPAC when we have crucial issues to discuss, and then they're either for A or for B. I think I have to really applaud the EC for a young woman's job on what happened.
First of all,
time.
Yeah, just
time. Just wanted you to give me the list, the names of the people.
Oh, I mean, for the names there, they are Kofi Corentin, Marek Kofi Ghani, Akosi Adaye Odeke of the Progressive Party, the United Progressive Party, and then Kwesi Busumburu of the People Action Party, and Nana Ajimambuatin, aka Jataba of the United Front Party. But Kwame, I'm saying that nobody can say that you have the right to be on the ballot, even though you are 40 and you qualify to be a president. For instance, I mean, if the Electoral Commission give a guidelines and say that this is a form to fill, and then you decide to do something else, you don't expect the Electoral Commission to let you be part. Or if there is money to be paid and you don't pay, you cannot have a right to be included. I think that those that are been removed, if you say you want to be a president and you decide to commit fraud, in itself is a criminal offense. It's a criminal offense. I'm happy that the Electoral Commission has taken some of these guys to court. And instead of them going to the court to defend themselves, they are all over the place, screaming blue medal and shouting. I think that is about time. But I would disagree a little bit with what I just said about the political parties who are in oblivion. And all of a sudden,
they spring up.
Because if you say you will disqualify them, how about independent political parties who do not even have one office? So if you are a political party, you have, let's say, 100 offices No, that's not what I'm saying. No. They are not doing anything. They are not participating in any election, nothing. They only come when there's crucial issue at the iPad.
Yeah, I want to.
So I was taking it. I was relating it to whether they should be disqualified or they should be made to go through.
I think we must even limit the number of political parties. Because most of them are just time wasters. Most of them are time wasters. Anyway, let me read a few of the messages that have come through. Good morning to you, Mr. Kwame, your guest and your cherished viewers. If Ghanaians actually want to get rid of corruption, they should get rid of Akufo-Addo and his family and friends government. Period. Enso Eric, careful citizen from Bolga Central, sent in this message. This one says, until everyone sees him or herself as a servant of the people, but not to eschew extravagance and meritorious and decency as the key word is godliness. Joe Banson, Ghanaian. Good morning, Kyoto. My name is Bugri Victor from Northeast. Concerning corruption, I think I agree with former President John Ajekum Kufuor that corruption started from Adam and Eve. Nothing can be done about it. Eve Farouk in Tamale North also says, good morning to you, KOD, and your panelists. We are calling the WhatsApp. You say what? The only person to fight corruption is former President Mahama, who has a record of fighting corruption. Please, happy to go up. Oh. Send some song he said we should play for him. Champion, tell the MPP man to call his party gurus to untie the hands of Martin Amidu, and they also stop forcing laws to be amended to the constitution during midnight and forcing the speaker to call for a vote. KOD, where have you been? Greetings to Adi and Honorable Tim from James. Been around. Good morning to you. We talk of corruption. I remember when Anado was in opposition and was sounding the gong in our ears to do away with the then NDC government. I cried because corruption in his government is more serious, and he must pay dearly for it come December 7th. Melo from Tantra sent in. Is it Tantra or Tantra? This is where Winner Ajay watching you from Ashanti region. Corruption is almost everywhere. But the biggest problem we have in this country is our politicians, especially those of them representing us in parliament. Once they find themselves in majority, they support any scandalous activities that even kill the progress and development of the nation. Few examples are PDS scandals, such as a deal, borrowing huge amount of money from IMF Bank of Ghana and share amongst family and friends, etc. Thank you, sir. Good morning to you. 2008, NDC told Ghanaians free SHS is not possible. It's a lie, and Anado is trying to deceive Ghanaians. The NDC credibility is zero. Bawere Dauda Iramba from Boko. I don't think we discussed free SHS today. I read it because I had to. This is the E-block in Sapelga of the Boko West District Assembly, which is abandoned by the government. The youth of the area are very angry. Please help us get the right authority to respond to the cries of the people. How much does it cost to pass a law in Parliament? And you come back to tell us, I will review Okada law. Beyond the issue. Issues of corruption borders on leadership. Please, I can tell you without any hesitation that NDC is better in fighting corruption than the current Akufo-Addo administration by Kwame in Yeji. Corruption can be fought with the hung parliament, with the president in a minority and the opposition in majority. Right. Vote for the NDC-led John Mahama and Jane for peace, jobs, security, justice, unity, honesty, and free from intimidation or discrimination. Asanko from Santa Maria sent in this one. Down below, Dr. Downblow from Brimso Apeusika says, His Excellency John Mahama has been cleared by the EC, led by Jane Mensah, I beg your pardon, to contest 2020 elections. Now the aim is to rescue Ghanaians who are suffering under this government. You say in regards to Felix Ofosu-Kwakye. Kwame Abuaje from Cape Coast says, Nanado is a blessing to Ghana for managing this COVID-19 well for us. Nanado also deserves praises and for more to do more for us. The youth of Ghana are voting massively for Nanado come December 7th. Thank you, sir. How do we expect Ghana to win the fight against corruption when institutions that are supposed to fight corruption are practicing corruption? Leaders are showing political thieves, but the ordinary thieves are being arrested and punished. We should stop pretending and continue our habitual corruption. AU is a useless organization. And then the Hiriba from Tamale Central sent in this one. This one says, you don't know what you're talking about. When their own party officials are dying, Supreme Court losing its credibility about Kennedy's court issues. This is just a political talk. Get your facts right. Do you know people who die because of the hope of fighting Galamsey? Saka, I like you, and I'm disheartened to know that MPP is failing to appreciate you. I find you as one of the few intelligent communicators who try to make sense in very bad situations. Saka, the excavator Aboboya issue was very stinky. That one you have to admit. Ibrahim Wachara says, Hajia, your sister has to go. EC boss is useless and clueless. Hey, I see. Anyway, I don't think Nana Akufo-Addo is committed to fighting corruption, else he wouldn't have packed his government with his family and friends. In fact, this is one of the reasons why he's clearing corruption officials. Zajina Jacob sent in this one. And Ibrahim Washara says, how can a member of parliament of MPP, his wife is in charge of our street lights, how did she get the contract? Achimfa Hamon says, KO, they ask Saka why all MPP parliamentarians support anything that comes to the executive, the support of both parties to EC when they are in power. Isn't it clear corruption? What is corruption? Corruption is simply lying to acquire benefits. If we all stop lying, corruption will die a natural death. And his name is Achimfa Hammond. Read two more messages and I'll wrap up on the show. This one also says, isn't it ridiculous that supposed presidential candidates who want to be voted for to head the affairs of Ghana cannot meet all the relevant requirements demanded of them by the Electoral Commission? Please, it's high time we made these mushroom political parties and the so-called independent aspirants aware the governance and, for that matter, the presidency is a serious office. Kwesi Reynolds in Agona Odobing sent in this one. KOD, it's funny hearing Saka saying corruption should be high offense in Ghana. If that's made possible here in Ghana, Then not even a single high-profile member of his party will survive a day walking about. Greetings to incoming MP for Ayawaso Central constituency, Raouf Roxon from Pig Farm, sent in this one. The stringent laws alone cannot help much with the fight against corruption. Change of mindset through proper education, right from the word go, should be considered more. Good morning, KOD. Okay, I think I've read this message. This one says, good morning, KOD and your panelists, more especially Honorable Timothy. I want to MPP and President Kufuor can never be trusted. Giving them 4 more years will mean causing great havoc and wicked retrogression to Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana. You see, you always ask Saka discerning specific questions, but he's always been evasive. Indeed, Saka Salia never impresses me at all. Well, that's your personal opinion. Your name is Mujib Ronaldo, Greater Techiman South. Good morning, Kwame. I really endorse the idea of public officers to get the prison term of 25 years if they go contrary to the laws. It's extremely applaudable. You see, thanks, Addison. Asinfosu Habitat, and the messages are many. Hajia, good morning to you. Messages are a lot. I can't finish reading all of them. Time is up, Saka Salia. With the grace of respect, no, I've actually exceeded my time for 10 minutes. Thank you, Saka, for your time today. Thank you, Honorable Timothy Atabwadi. I want to thank you, Ajay Amdatu, for your time. Saka, you know I'll do this for you, but because of time. Thank you to you for watching today's edition of Good Morning Africa. My name is Kwame Owusu Danso. It's been a pleasure serving you this morning with the morning show. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Do have a very pleasant day. Shalom, peace. God bless you. God bless us. God bless our homeland, Ghana. Make us great and strong. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.